I'll never forget the sound of sharp, bone-rattling crash that tore through the sleepy calm of our suburban afternoon. It was like someone had dropped a sledgehammer through a glass table, followed by the relentless wail of a car alarm. My car alarm. I was in my home office sipping coffee when it happened. Heart pounding, I bolted to the window just in time to see a woman with immaculate blonde highlights sauntering away from my driveway. A smug grin stretched across her face, like she just ticked off the last item on her to-do list. She didn't run, didn't even glance back, just strutted down the street like she owned it. I sprinted outside, and there it was, my 3-month-old Tesla, its windshield spiderwebbed with cracks, a brick still wedged in the glass. Tiny shards sparkled across the hood, catching the sunlight like some twisted art installation. We'd moved to Willow Creek Estates 6 months earlier, my wife, Emily, and I, thinking we'd stumbled into paradise. Perfect lawns, cozy houses with matching shutters, and neighbors who waved like they meant it. But the realtor conveniently forgot to mention the Homeowners Association, or, more accurately, its queen bee, Deborah Mitchell. Everyone called her Debbie, though the nickname carried a certain edge, even among her cronies. I met her at our first HOA meeting, where she introduced herself as the president with a smile that could freeze a lake. From the moment we rolled into the neighborhood, Debbie had it out for my Tesla. During her welcome VY sit, which felt more like a military inspection, she stared at my car like it was a junkyard relic. "We prefer classic vehicles here," she said, her lips barely MOVYing. "Electric cars don't quite fit Willow Creek's VYB." I chuckled, thinking she was joking. Who gets mad about a car in 2025? Turns out, Debbie was dead serious. It started small notes on my door about aesthetic violations, like my Tesla's silver finish clashing with the neighborhood's traditional palette. Then came a letter printed on crisp HOA letterhead, demanding I park the car in my garage to preserve VY Sewell harmony. I try to play nice. I showed up to HOA meetings, followed their absurd rules about trash can placement, even repainted our mailbox when Debbie claimed our cloud white was off by a shade. But nothing was ever enough. The more I bent, the pettier she got. By spring, I was drowning in citations, one for a lawn that was too green, another for a porch light that was too modern. Emily thought I was overreacting. "She's just a control freak," she'd say. Ignore her. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Debbie was gunning for us. Things boiled over at the April HOA meeting. I'd pitched the idea of adding EV charging stations, thinking it'd be a win for property values. Before I could finish, Debbie cut me off. "We don't need more of those monstrosities," she snapped, while VYing her manicured hand. "Your car's already an eyesore, ruining the charm we've spent years perfecting." The room went silent. 20 pairs of eyes flicked to me, then away. A few neighbors nodded, too scared to cross her. That week, I found a deep, deliberate scratch along my Tesla's driver's side door. No note, no apology, just a due law 1,000 repair bill and a sinking feeling it wasn't random. The next day, I activated my Tesla's Sentry mode and hid a few 4K cameras around the house in the garden, under the eaves, tucked behind a birdhouse. Emily called me paranoid. "She's annoying, not a vandal," she insisted. I wasn't so sure. Debbie's campaign didn't stop. She started an environmental study on EVs, plastering flyers around the neighborhood, claiming they polluted more than gas guzzlers because of battery production. One morning, I caught her slipping one under my windshield wiper. "Just keeping you informed," she said with a smirk. Then my trash can started mysteriously ending up in the street, a violation that'd earn me a fine. I was on edge, checking my cameras daily, waiting for her to slip up. And then, one crisp morning, she did. It was 6:42 a.m. when the crash woke me. I stumbled outside in my bathrobe, heart racing, and saw the brick lodged in my windshield, the alarm screaming into the dawn. Neighbors peeked from their windows, but stayed put. In Willow Creek, nobody messed with Debbie. But as I stood there, staring at the wreckage, a strange calm washed over me. She'd gone too far, and I had her. I called the cops, then pulled up my footage. There she was in crystal clear 4K, Debbie, brick in hand, glancing around before hurling it with a pitcher's precision. The glass shattered, and she actually smiled before strolling back to her house 3 doors down. I backed up the VY to my phone, my cloud, my laptop, even sent a copy to my brother in Seattle. Then I emailed it to every HOA board member with a single line. Emergency meeting requested regarding criminal acti VY tie by board president. The police arrived within the hour, watched the footage, and took my statement. Want to press charges? One officer asked. Absolutely, I said, my voice steady. They said they'd pay Debbie a VY sit that evening. I could almost picture her face when they showed her the VY Deo. Word spread like wildfire. My phone lit up with texts for neighbors I'd barely met, shocked but not surprised. Turns out, Debbie had a history cutting down one guy's rosebush for growing an inch too far, finding a mom because her kid's basketball hoop was unsightly. That night, I watched from my window as a police cruiser parked at Debbie's house. Even from a distance, I could see her unravel arms flailing, then slumping as the officers showed her the EVY Denke. They led her to the car, her head bowed, the neighborhood queen dethroned. The next evening, the HOA meeting was standing room only. Debbie, out on bail, was nowhere in sight. The VYC president, voice shaking, played the footage for the packed room. Given the EVY Denke and pending charges, he said, "We need to vote on Remo VYing Deborah Mitchell as president." Every hand shot up. Some neighbors stood, as if to make sure their vote counted. As the meeting ended, people I'd never spoken to shook my hand, apologized for staying silent. "She's been a nightmare for years," an older man whispered. "You just caught her." 2 weeks later, Debbie's court date arrived. The charges were heavy: vandalism, property damage over due law $5,000, and abuse of power for weaponizing HOA rules. I sat in the courtroom, watching her shuffle in, her usual swagger gone. The judge didn't hold back. 2 years probation, due law $5,000 to fix my car, a due law $7,000 fine, 200 hours of community SARE VYC, and a 10-year ban from SARE VYing on any HOA board. When the gavel fell, Debbie sobbed, her empire in ruins. Looking back, it wasn't just about the car. It was about standing up to a bully who thought she was untouchable. Willow Creek feels different now, lighter, like we can all breathe again. But it makes me wonder, how many Debbies are out there, ruling their little kingdoms, waiting for someone to fight back? What do you think? Did Debbie deserve her punishment? Or was it too harsh for a first offense? Have you ever dealt with a tyrant like her in your neighborhood? And here's the big one. Would you have pressed charges or let it slide to keep the peace? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Tesla, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.